Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. Before I officially get started, first of all, I wanted to make sure I ask everybody to please click the subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Also, go ahead and give that video a big thumbs up, like whatever, and please leave a positive comment below. Also, I wanted to point out my hoodie. So I should start wearing this more often when it's cold out when I'm YouTubing, because, not even lying, this is the logo slogan of my YouTube channel. No, I did not get this custom made. I cannot talk. Actually, TJ, believe it or not, bought this for me off of Amazon, and it's my favorite colors, which is hilarious. It was on sale for $10. Now, how cool is that? You too can get this same exact hoodie any size you want. You can even choose your color. I had actually asked for it to be red and black, but you can go on Amazon.com and you can get the same exact hoodie. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13. You can choose what color, you can choose what size, and you can get it delivered right to your door for only $10 if it's still on sale, that is. But normally it's $20. Because that's what he told me it was originally. So you can't go wrong with that. So if you want to go around sporting my favorite memory verse and my YouTube channel slogan, then you too can do that as well. Unfortunately, once again, it's not custom made, so I can't exactly have the theme park evangelist in the back, but if I can get enough subscribers, and if I can ever afford it, that is, then you never know. I might start doing the same exact design with the theme park evangelist on the back. Like, it would say on the back, the theme park evangelist. Just kind of like the Tim Tracker, he has taken me to a theme park on the front of the t-shirt. So, I would like to do that eventually, and I feel like a lot of you guys out there would be like, heck yeah, I would love that. So, why not, right? And I actually got recognized, believe it or not, at the Archicator this weekend. I went over there for a conference, so to speak. I went to go hear a pastor named Vodi Balcom. He's out in California. He is represented by the Masters University, and he more or less spoke about the ever-loving truth. Now, I can't get into it because it's too controversial, but I was getting something to eat and whatnot. You have to forgive me why I'm so distracted, but I'll explain that in a minute or so. And while I was like in the process of like wandering around, this guy, he bumps into me. He goes, I think I've seen you on YouTube. And I asked him, do you want to take a picture of me? And he goes, sure, that would be awesome. So, I don't mind doing that kind of thing. I really don't. But the reason why I'm so distracted, so, believe it or not, I'm 2 days late doing this YouTube video. And I was actually supposed to be at work right now. I caught a cold over the weekend, for one thing, so if I sound congested, that's why. So, yeah, I've not been feeling the greatest the past couple of days or so, but I am feeling better than I have been, and I feel like I'm ready to go back to work. I did go back to the Creation Museum officially as of last Monday, so that is a huge blessing for me. Let's see here, what else? My car, unfortunately, is having issues. So, the good news is it is still safe as of right now for local driving as long as I keep the speed down. But it doesn't mean it's going to last that way forever. And the brakes are starting to go out. So, at least I can still drive my car up to a point, but that's about it. But even then, it's getting to the point where I have to have a new car. Or a new to-me car, really. Because, hey, I'm a broke 30-year-old. What can I say? I got my associate's degree, but that doesn't mean anything. Because these days, you can't really do much with an associate's degree, especially not with a high school degree. High school diploma, excuse me. So, but you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? I'm just telling you what the world says, but that doesn't mean that you have to listen to the world either. And then on top of that, I just spoke to the state of Kentucky this morning, and I'm trying to figure out, what the heck is taking my state refund so long. I finally spoke to a tax examiner this morning. He said it's going to take me 6 to 8 weeks from February 20th, TJ's 30th birthday, to receive my state refund. So, originally, I was supposed to receive it on TJ's 30th birthday in my bank account, and that would have probably been the best birthday present TJ would have ever received, but that's TJ for you. But now, I'm going to have to receive it in the mail, as annoying as that is. And, yeah, I'm not impressed. But there's not much I can do. I mean, at least now I know I am going to receive it. At least now I know why there is a delay. At least now I know an official answer instead of just some random nonsense. But either way. So I know for a fact that tomorrow is Easter. Sorry, not Easter. Tomorrow I know for a fact is spring, the first day of spring, even though here in northern Kentucky, believe it or not, it's snowing right now, which doesn't make any sense when just a couple of weeks ago it literally felt like spring. So, yeah, go figure on our weather. And I also know for a fact that 13 days from now is Easter. So, I'm unfortunately going to be really busy coming here soon. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be YouTubing next weekend. So, right now, the plan for next weekend is Winter Jam or Spring Jam, as I've been joking around. I'm going to be vlogging on Sunday, March 24th. I'm not vlogging at all on March 23rd, because that's my dad's 60th birthday, believe it or not. That says anything about how old my parents are. And also, next Monday, whether I have a car by then or not, or whether I have to borrow Katie's car for a while, is the day I'm going to be going out to the Ark Encounter to go do some more vlogging. So, as I haven't done any vlogging out there, Lord willing, the weather will be cooperative. Otherwise, I may have to postpone that one too, which would suck. But either way, I am not going to be doing any kind of vlogging out there until midday, because I got some stuff going on in the morning, whether I take Katie to work or not. So, needless to say, the only thing I really got planned officially right now for next weekend is vlogging Winter Jam, and then after that, we'll be going right into Easter weekend. And the only vlog I have planned right now for Easter weekend is Happy Easter from the Theme Park Evangelist and Katie, my fiance, for those of you who do not know. The reason why my vlogs are kind of on the I'm not really vlogging all that much. As I said, I went back to work. I'm working full-time hours. And on top of that, Katie is trying to spend as much time with me as possible, because Wednesday, April 3rd, she is leaving for Eastern North Carolina for 1 week, which means that this is going to be where it's going to get a little intense. Excuse me while I take this call from Katie. I apologize about that. Apparently, it's so slow at the Creation Museum that they're sending Katie home early. So, well, not till at least 3 or 3:30, so Yeah, fun times. So anyway, with Easter coming around the corner, finally getting to the actual point of the topic, um, I've been thinking about it, and, I've been looking back over the years that I've been celebrating Easter, and one thing that really came to my mind that really felt laid on my heart by God more than anything was discussing with you guys whether God requires Christians, or just people in general for that matter, primarily Christians, as that's the title I came up with for my YouTube channel, let alone my Facebook page, facebook.com/the theme park evangelist, for those of you who do not know, to attend church all of Easter weekend. And the reason why I chose that particular topic is because I'm going to start with a story. So, for those of you who do not know me, I used to work at Publix supermarkets by Legoland, Florida, and Winter Haven, Florida, uh, from 2012 all the way to 2019. I started out when I was 17 years old, and I left when I was 25. Anyway, so one particular Easter that I was working, I helped out a family. They were all dressed up really nicely, and they parked their car all the way in the back. It was the day before Easter, so it was slammed. One of the busiest days of the year for grocery stores, by the way. So I made the comment, oh, I noticed that you guys are dressed up really nicely. They said they had just gotten done with church. They were about to go back again later that day. I don't remember. They might have even been, and I think they also mentioned they were going to go back again the next day, of course, for church. Now, they did not mention to me what denomination or religion, anything like that to me. But, looking at, or thinking back, I should say, even visualizing the whole scene in my mind, I would safely say they were Catholic. Not that there's anything wrong with being Catholic, but I'm very sure they were. And I mentioned to them, oh, I'm actually going to Easter sunrise service or Easter service tomorrow as well. And they said, well, have you been going all weekend? And I said to them, no, like I've been working. And they said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. God is very displeased with you for working. You should be attending church all weekend like we are. And they just started berating me right there in the parking lot. And, I'm in my uniform. There's not much I can do other than stand there looking like completely shocked. And I'm like, what? Now, these days, I would be willing to take more of a stand even if I'm in my uniform. But I still would have to be careful because I'm not going to say anything, and then they go back inside, tell the manager, your employee was out here harassing us, and then I lose my job. So, I'm still willing to stand up for myself, but to a point where I know that the customer cannot go back inside and get me in trouble, let alone will not do it. I would say something along the lines of, I appreciate your concerns about me not attending church all weekend long, but that's my religious belief, and unfortunately, you shouldn't go and tell other people in what they should be doing with their religious beliefs, but that's me. And if they wanted to retort, I would say, I would tell you more. Unfortunately, I'm working. If you want to discuss this further, I'd be more than happy to meet you sometime for coffee or something, but I'm going to wish you a good day, and I hope you enjoy your church. And I would just walk away at that point, even if they're still going, blah, 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 blah. As soon as, I get done with their order, I would, say what I need to say and then leave. Sometimes the best thing you can say or the best thing you could do in that situation is not say anything at all. So, anyway, with all that being said, it made me really think, like, does God actually require Christians to attend church a weekend? Now, if you're already getting impatient with me and you're just like, just hurry up, get to the point, dude, so I can move on with my life, the simple answer is no, he does not. Okay, for those of you who are already tired of listening to me, go ahead and exit out of YouTube and go, or exit out of your tab and move on to the next video. For those of you who are interested, stick around because it's going to get interesting. So why doesn't God care? Because there is nowhere in the Bible, believe it or not, that says that church attendance is even required in the first place. Back in Exodus chapter 12, or whatever it was, or no, 20, Exodus 20, Exodus 20, when God gave Moses the Ten Commandments, it clearly says, keep the Sabbath holy. But it doesn't say that thou must go to church. Keep that in mind. And what God meant by keep the Sabbath holy was, take the seventh day off as a rest day. Now, God does not mean that you have to take every Sunday off just because the Bible says so. What God means is, as 6 days you shall work, and on a seventh day you should rest. And what God is basically implying is he wants us to work 6 days a week at the max, whether that's 5 days at your job, and then you have a 6 day you kind of getting stuff done around your house, apartment, or whatever, condo, and then your seventh day you're doing as little as possible, you're resting. Even better if you're going ahead and you're giving time to God. And it can be Saturday, it can be Sunday, it can be Monday, it doesn't matter. And that's more or less what God was implying by keeping the Sabbath holy. Some people, unfortunately, they cannot, whatever you call it, they cannot say, well, I am gonna just take a seventh day off just because God said so. Because some people are gonna be watching this and like, dude, you can't, force me to. I'm not going to. I'm just letting you know this is what God said. However, though, I do understand that some people cannot afford to not work. Some people do work 7 days a week. Now, Katie does not allow me to work more than 5 days a week. Katie even has a hard time with me working 6 days a week. But Katie especially will not let me work more than that. Some people, like TJ and his roommate, might be like, you shouldn't have a woman tell you what to do. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't get married if you feel that way. And I mean, I personally don't care. That's me. I personally know that is part of God's plan, is for a man to tell a woman what to do and a woman to tell the man what to do, but in a loving and kind way. So basically what I'm implying is Katie and I work together, and sometimes Katie is going to ask me to do things that I don't like, but sometimes I'm going to ask Katie to do things that she doesn't like. It's not always, David, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. Sometimes, more or less, yes, Katie does ask me more things than I ask of her, but it's not like it really bothers me. Some people are, like, super offended about it, and they're like, well, you shouldn't even be with her in the first place, so she's going to be like that. But I also have turned around and I've said, well, when am I ever going to find a woman like that? I'm just putting that out there. Easter Sunday has always been one of my absolute favorite days of the year. And last year was the very first time I ever got to celebrate it with Katie and her parents. And I honestly feel like of all the Easters I've ever celebrated over the years, last year was by far my favorite. Because I've always either celebrated Easter at Surf Church and then gone home and had ham, or I've even gone as far as going over to Bok Tower Gardens, volunteering there, going to serve, then going back home and having ham. But for a change last year to wake up in eastern North Carolina, drive over to Peace Church where Katie goes, and, well, when she's back home, that is, with her parents, and then get to meet some of her church members and take a family photo with her and her parents, and of course myself, and then even go and celebrate her birthday dinner afterwards. I was like, wow, I mean, when do you ever get to do that kind of thing? I don't. I mean, that was the first time I had ever been out to eastern North Carolina in a very long time, let alone stayed overnight. Usually I'm just like, oh, I'm just passing through, and then, you know, the same thing happens again the next year, passing through again. So, I mean, every time I have ever celebrated Easter, I've only really attended church one time. Like when I volunteered at Bok Tower Gardens, they didn't even let us listen to the sermon. Like everybody was, always just showing up just to hear the pastor. The message is what I would hear. I want to hear the message. I saw all kinds of people, all kinds of very interesting outfits is the best way to put it, and I'm going to leave it at that. Whenever I volunteered at Bok Tower Gardens on Easter Sunday. And everybody just wanted to hear the message. Everybody wanted to know, what was going to be said about Easter, Sunday that year. Easter Sunday is the highest attended service of the entire year. Second would be Christmas Eve, but Easter Sunday is still number one. Because everybody they get that conviction in their heart, and this time of the year, they're like, oh, I have to go to church. God is going to strike me dead if I don't go to church. So they all go to church. They don't care where it is. I mean, even TJ, the most non-religious person I have ever known, has even been convicted by God to attend some kind of Easter sunrise service or Easter service. He doesn't care. He's even gone as far as saying, I'm going to go to SeaWorld and attend their Easter sunrise service. Because he knows in his heart that this is the number one most religious holiday in the world. Period. And I don't mean to get so passionate, but all people know. Like, whether you hate God with a passion, everybody knows that Easter Sunday is the top of the list for days that you have to attend church. And I have never felt that way. I've just, see Sunday as I get up, I go to church, I spend the afternoon with Katie, and some days I spend the afternoon with my parents. Some days we all just spend time together, and that's about it. I mean, every Sunday afternoon and evening has been different for me, but every Sunday morning I have always woken up, gotten ready, gone to church, and then done whatever. But worldly people cannot say the same thing, or I should say non-religious people, however you want to be called. Most non-religious people, like TJ, wake up on a Sunday morning, and they usually wake up anytime between 10 to 11. Like TJ, I know for a fact, wakes up at 10 a.m., usually on a Sunday morning, and he'll go over and pick up Kay, and they'll go down to the flea market, or they'll go eat something, and then they'll go to the flea market, and then they'll go play miniature golf, or go walk around Disney Springs, maybe even go down to Disney. Also, sometimes TJ is, or often TJ works on Sundays, so he'll get up, he'll go to work, and then he'll come back to Polk County, pick up Kay, and they'll go do whatever. But on Easter Sunday, it all changes for non-religious people. And then they'll look at somebody like me who already attends church every single Sunday, and then they'll try to put themselves up on a pedestal, and then they'll say to me, I just went to church today. You have to go because I went. Because they are trying to make themselves look good in front of God, and they'll even go as far as saying, I went to church all weekend. Look how religious I am. And then I said, I just went to church, or I'm just going to go to church on Sunday. And then they say to you, well, then I'm more religious than you. Or God likes me better. Or this is another one I like to say, or I've heard. Well, then I guess I'm definitely God's favorite then. And the reason why they get so obnoxious at that time of the year, at this time of the year, whatever, as it's, getting to that point, is because deep down inside, they are terrified of God, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get right in God's eyes, because they know deep down inside that something is going to happen at one point. They just don't know. They hear, us Christians talking about, there, whether there's a heaven and a hell, and this whole God's going to, judge us one day, and this is where non-religious people and Christians are different, and I can tell it's really made an impact on even me. So, like, say for example, whenever I let God down, which I have sat down and I have explained to my non-religious friends multiple times, I mess up every single day. I used to be an alcoholic. I still am an alcoholic, for crying out loud. I have a lot of issues. I have more issues than I can even count. But you know what? I know at the end of the day that I am a 100% genuine born again Christian, and the reason why I know that in my heart is because when I was 7 years old, I distinctly remember having the Lord's Supper brought in, and I honestly believed in my heart that it was just a snack, but I cannot look at the Lord's Supper the same way anymore. Sure, sometimes I like to think of it as a light snack too, but I also know deep down in my heart that it really is a symbol. The bread represents the body of Christ, and the grape juice represents the blood of Christ. And it's all what took place on Good Friday 2,000 years ago. It's, incredible. And, I didn't think about that kind of stuff back then. And, back then, I thought about it. I was like, that's cool. But these days, I actually 100% believe it. It's like, yeah, I didn't see it. But you know what? Seeing is believing, and believing is seeing. It's like, I know God is out there. I know God exists. I've seen too many examples over the years. It's too many to count. But one particular day that I knew 100% God was there, I was driving to my best friend's house when I was still in high school, and it was pouring down rain, and there was a there was a bus carrying citrus workers in it. And some people could say this is coincidence, but I know this was a God thing. I was just driving along, and next thing I know, the bus hit a patch of black ice, and it spun out of control and flipped over right in front of me. And I had no idea what was going to happen. I honestly didn't, because I was just driving along behind it. The only thing I was even thinking about at the time was what I was going to be doing with my high school best friend in about 10 minutes. That was all I was thinking about. I was a teenager. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that the bus was getting ready to flip over. I didn't think about that kind of stuff back then. I was naive. I was young, younger than I am now. And when the bus did flip over, it caught me off guard. I was like, what? And I mean, yes, I was driving a good distance behind it, but I mean, I was still probably driving a little too close to it as, I was a teenager back then. I was naive, and God protected me by making sure that the bus did not crush me. And if that's not enough, there was one day I was walking my bike between the back porch and the pool back when I lived in Lake Wheels. And I actually felt gravity pushing me towards the pool. I had lost my balance. I started to fall into the pool. And by rights, I should have fallen into the pool and the bike crushing me into the pool. But I actually felt an invisible force push me back up into the pool deck. And to me, that was incredible. I was just like, wow. I don't know. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anything. I looked everywhere, and there was nobody there. I didn't hear anything either, but I felt something. And it wasn't the wind. There was no wind that day whatsoever. I know God was the reason why I was pushed back up. If not him, it was one of his angels. I'll tell you guys one more. This also proves to me that God is real. Way before I was even saved, I was up in Ontario, Canada. We had just arrived at my grandmother's house at the time. And I had gone down to the pool to investigate. And the dog at the time had seen me. And dogs are crazy, but I feel like God took over that dog for just a minute, if not less. And I had fallen in the pool. If the dog did not bark, I would have drowned and died. Because nobody had any idea that I was in that pool except God. I was 2 years old. I should have by rights died. And I didn't. Because God alerted that dog to notify everybody that I was in that pool. And as soon as my grandmother noticed that everybody noticed that the dog was barking, especially my grandmother, she saw me in the pool. She ran. She dove in the pool and grabbed me and pulled me to my rescue. My grandmother also rescued me, but it was the dog that officially saved me. And it's because God alerted the dog to save me. If not took the dog over. I mean, it could go either way. So, those are 3 very powerful examples that God is real. That came from my personal experience. But at the end of the day, do we still have to attend church all Easter weekend just to appease God? Once again, no. Because, yes, just because the world wants us to feel miserable, just because they're trying to make themselves look good with God. Because, like I mentioned, the Christians, we realize we make mistakes, but as long as you're a, 100% genuine believer, then you are, saved by God's grace. Versus the world, what they do is they try to do works to earn brownie points of God. And you can sit there and you tell them all you want. Well, it says in the Bible that good works don't earn you into heaven. The world's going to be like, don't trust that. That doesn't tell you the truth. That's just an old book. That's all it is. They're like, yeah, God really loves me right now because I just got to church all weekend. And I'm even going to tap like, wow, God is patting me on the back right now. And that really says a lot right there about what you need to know. So, if you want to go to Easter service this Easter weekend, then go for it. I won't judge you if you decide that's not for me. You should go, but that doesn't mean you have to go. It's always good to go to church, especially at Easter. You should go to church every Sunday. But Easter is, a really good time to want to go. Because the reason why churches are really pushing people to come to church right now, for those of you who are wondering, is because this is a prime time to come to Christ. Because the whole reason behind Easter is not the Easter Bunny. It's not about the candy. It's not about the Easter egg hunts. Those are cute. But the reason behind Easter is God knew it was time for him to sacrifice himself on the cross so he could die for our sins. God actually physically died on the cross. But then he rose again 3 days later. It wasn't just he died, that was it. Yes, he was buried in a tomb, but he did rise again 3 days later. And he walked amongst men for 40 days afterwards. And then he ascended back into heaven. And we've been waiting for 2,000 years for him to come back. Some people are like, he's never going to come back. But yet, I look every time out in the world at how much worse things have gotten, and that's all the proof I need to know right there that God is going to come back again. And I've been looking for signs that he's going to be coming back from Revelation, because Paul actually was taken by God into the future to see when things would be coming into fruition for God to come back and rescue all people who came to him. Now, Paul did not, get permission to write down the year or what kind of technology what we would have, but you better believe that Paul saw cars and he saw the clothing. I'm sure Paul was very shocked by the things that he saw. God can teleport through time. God can teleport anybody he wants through time. I mean, for crying out loud, Elijah and one other prophet still are not dead. God took them up into heaven. So God can do whatever he wants. It's easy for him. So anyway, I think you guys can tell my voice is starting to go. Been talking for almost 40 minutes when you're not feeling good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded to YouTube. But I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.